Hello and welcome back to the channel. An interesting one today where I'm going to tell you the top 5 worst people that I've ever dealt with throughout my career in car sales. Now before I get going, I want to make clear 99% of the population are fantastic to deal with. Once you treat them with respect, you handle your business with integrity and you're transparent with people, you will have no bothers with the majority. A lot of business owners, their downfall is that they begrudge the general public. They seem to think everybody is out to get them, and it's more of a reflection on themselves than the general public. I'm not one of those people. I don't think like that at all. That being said, no matter what you do for some people, no matter how hard you try, that 1% will do everything they can to make your life a misery, and they'll just be impossible to deal with. So here are the top 5. Number 5. Got a phone call one day from a guy wanting to test drive our most expensive car in stock at the time. On his way back from the test drive, he pulled in here. There was a good few customers in the forecourt. It's a little bit tight here, and I think he got a bit nervous. And there's little barriers over at the end of the forecourt. They're about that size. And from time to time, random people driving in and out will tip into these barriers. So in his panic, he didn't see it, drove straight over the barrier and got nervous and reversed straight back, and he pulled the bumper off the car. I came out in absolute horror. It's one of the only times this has happened. It happened 2 or 3 times in the past. But this particular car was a very high spec machine. It was a main dealer only part, and I knew it was going to be expensive. So I said, "Are you buying the car?" He said, "Yes, I'll buy the car." I said, "Okay, give me €1,000 deposit now. We'll sort out the damage, put it into the deal, and we'll get the finer details nailed down later on." "I've no money," he said. I said, "How are you going to pay for the car?" He said, "I wanted full finance." I said, "Okay, come into my office. We'll get that sorted." Took the proposal. He was actually earning very good money each week. Got his bank statements off him because the bank need to see them usually. And I noticed that he was taking his money out of the ATM as soon as he was paid every week. So for the majority of his time, he had about €2 or €3 in his account at any one time. So my heart sunk. I was thinking, this guy wants our most expensive car and he's got a couple of euros in his account at any one time. This is not shaping up to be a good deal. But I've seen stranger things happen. So I sent his proposal into each and every bank that we deal with. I spent hours working on it, and every single bank rejected him because his credit history was absolutely rotten. So I called him back, said, "Look, bad news, you're not approved. How are we going to fix up this issue with the damage you caused?" "Oh, I'll look after it, don't worry, I wouldn't be like that. I won't see you stuck. I'm a man of my word." This guy is in his mid-30s now, mind you. So it was going to be about €1,500 to get the damage fixed. I said, "Look, I look after the respray, you just buy the part. Give me £1,000. You can do a payment plan of €200 for the next 5 weeks and we'll get it sorted." Yeah, no bother at all. So tried ringing him. No answer. This went on for about 3 months. So after a few months of getting no reply, I put it on the back burner. Very busy here. It wasn't high on my to-do list. So it popped back into my head about 6 months later. I said I'd try with another phone call and another text message, and heard nothing back again. So I sent a somewhat threatening letter saying if I wasn't paid, I was going to pursue legal action. A few days later, this grown man's mammy came in here and she fixed up the bill. Cleaned up her little boy's mess. Not exactly a horrible person or a bad egg or an abusive client, but it's just one that was so unbelievably pathetic, it stuck out in my mind as being one of the worst. So number 4 on the list is I sold a Skoda to a guy one Saturday in my old job. Took €100 deposit. That's all he had on him at the time. Usually we'd ask for more. But number 4 on the list, sold a Skoda to a man in my old job on a Saturday, a very busy, warm Saturday during the summer. I remember it well. Had arranged for a collection the following week. Car needed a bit of a valet, and there's just a few other details that needed to be sorted out. He couldn't take the car there and then anyway. Drove back in the Monday morning, 9:15, and the customer was there waiting for me. Now, this only means one thing when you see this happening in sales, and it means the customer has either saw a cheaper one online, or he's just gotten cold feet and he doesn't want the deal to go ahead anymore. So I knew what was coming. He marched in and was fairly front-footed, demanding his money back. And I, of course, asked, can we at least talk about it, see if we can trash out a deal, see if we can salvage something here. That seemed to infuriate him a bit more, and again was demanding his money back. When I explained the money had been lodged and we don't actually have cash on site, you're going to have to wait a few days to get it in the bank account. He marched up to me, drove his head into my chin. He was about 5 foot, so he couldn't exactly go head to head with me. Do you know the way lads are getting aggressive and they do that thing? I was very taken back by it. What stands out to me the most was he was saying over and over again, I'm going to end your career. I don't know exactly what he meant by that, but we managed to defuse the situation. It was the first time that anyone has got towards being physically violent in my sales career, so for that reason, that little man stands out at number 4. Number 3, we had an A6 here about a year ago that we took on trade, and it was lower down the years. So when you get a car like this, and it's handy on the money, and it's clean and good mileage and all the rest, they're really hot property. There's a great market for them and they move quick. So I had a guy ring me on a Saturday and he said, look, I'm flat out working here Monday to Saturday. I can't come in during your normal working hours. Is there any way you could do a viewing tomorrow? And I said, look, I can't do one tomorrow. I'm really busy with the family. Usually I try and accommodate you, especially on a car that there's a lot of interest in. You're a serious buyer, I don't want you to miss out. But just this Sunday is not good for me. He said, what about Monday evening? I said, no problem at all. I'll meet you Monday evening. I'll stay back late. We'll see if we can do a deal. So Monday came, it was about 10 to 6. I said, I'll give this fella a call and make sure we're still on for this evening. No answer. Waited around about 25, 30 minutes. No reply. So I said, feck this, I'm going home. Went home anyway, thought nothing of it, thought it was just another guy who inquired and changed his mind. Happens regularly. The following day, I was at home, it was about 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night on a Tuesday evening, and I got a phone call from the customer. Well, how's the form? I'm outside your garage. I was like, what? We had an appointment for yesterday. And he was like, yeah, do you know, I'm really busy in work, I'm up to my eyes. I'm outside here now, is there any way you could come over? I'm really interested in the car. In the conversation we had on Sunday or the Saturday, he sounded like a real bio and a real Jack the lad, and we got on well and we had a bit of a laugh. He sounded like a good soul, and I'm sure he is. So I didn't want him to lose out on the car because I think it would have sold in the next day or two. I wanted to give him a fair shot. So I put on my jeans, drove into town. I live in Cashel, by the way, a half hour away. Probably 9 o'clock at this stage. Hopped out of the car and I met him. And straight away I was thinking, something is off here. This guy does not seem right. So I said, geez, do you know what? I better go for a test drive with this fella. Hopped in beside him, went up the road. He was absolutely all over the place. Do you know on a roundabout when it there's a gradient up to a roundabout, but the road is here? He went around the roundabout and he went up the gradient. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Will you relax? So got him to calm down a small bit. He wasn't driving like a total lunatic after I gave out to him. And he was on about his back pain. And I was like, right, why did you keep telling me about your back pain? And it clicked with me. And I goes, are you taking medication for your back pain? And he said, yeah, I'm taking medication. Are you taking Xanax for your back pain? Yeah, Xanax, taking Xanax. The guy was a complete tablet head. He was out of his face. So I ended up making it back to the showroom unscathed about 10 o'clock at this stage. I remember he was ranting and raving, and I was just thinking, will this fella ever piss off so I can go home? He did just that. He went into the bathroom before he left and he pissed all over the place. He did not get one drop into the toilet. I was out here, the bathroom was in there. While he was in there, I could hear him snorting his absolute brains out as well. So he went away and I spent the next 20 minutes cleaning up his piss. Probably a nice guy, clearly suffering with a severe drug problem. I never followed up with him after that. I never heard back from him since. But for that ordeal and the grief he caused me that night, he's number 3. Customer number 2 bought a Dacia Sandero off us in my old job. Didn't buy it directly from me, one of the other sales guys. He was 6 months out of warranty and had done tons of mileage and his engine went. I was on my day off when he first rang in demanding a refund. The junior salesman he got through on the phone explained, I can't just give you a 15 grand refund. You're out of warranty. I don't have that authority. All of this stuff is dealt with the manager, and then if it escalates, it goes to the directors. So he went insane on the phone, stormed into the showroom, stood over the junior salesman's desk, threatened him, kicked and screamed for about a half an hour, and eventually he left. So I heard about it the next morning. I gave him a phone call, went insane on the phone, again demanding his money back. So with customers like this who are out of warranty with a long shot and they don't really have any leg to stand on, you're better off just to leave them talk so they can catch themselves out. Especially when they're very angry and very upset. They rant and rant and rant and they just walk themselves into a hole. And the truth is always exposed. So he let it be known that he was 30,000 kilometers over his mileage limit. And I asked him, maybe the reason your engine went is because you haven't serviced the car. And he said, I only serviced it 2 days before the engine went. So I said, okay, we're on to something here. Couldn't tell me who did the servicing, said it was none of my business. And when I said, do you know what I'll do? If you can get me the service history, I'll propose this issue to the director and see if we can make a compensation. Of course, there was no service history. It turned out that he got his friend up the road to do the service for him, and the friend hadn't a clue what he was doing. Topped up the car with too much oil, and the engine exploded. So when I told him that without any service history, I wasn't bringing to directors, he hung up the phone. A few minutes later, he marched in, frothing from the mouth, cursing, standing up to me, going square in my face, and demanding his refund. But of course, what could I do? Only tell him, sorry, you're not getting it. So he left anyway, kicking and screaming. Never heard from him again after that. But the reason he's number 2 is because he made a mistake by cheaping out on his service, and it cost him an expensive repair. And instead of being a man, realising what he had done wrong and cleaning up his own mess, he decided to use bully tactics and intimidation to try and get his money back. Low life carry on, and I think he deserves number 2. Number 1 on this list is a little scumbag that I sold a car to in my old job. He was 6 months out of warranty or so when I got a phone call off him. Screaming down the phone, very front-footed, cursing a lot, saying he was having an issue with his car. I said, okay, let's get this sorted. What's the issue? He wouldn't tell me what the issue was. He just said the car was a heap of shit and he was dropping it off at our door. I said, you can drop it all you want. We're just going to get it towed away. We haven't a clue what's wrong with it. You're not letting us help you. So yeah, drop it all you want, but we'll be getting it towed away. It'll still be your issue. Cursed at me, abused me, hung up the phone. So I thought nothing of it. At about a half hour later, same number rings. I answer it. Straight away, he threatens to drive the car through the showroom glass, threatened to kick my head in, and he told me that I was going to need the armed response unit called in order to get him pulled off me. So this went on and on for another few minutes. You get the gist. There's some stuff he was saying that I can't really repeat on YouTube. But after the phone call, I thought, Jesus, this guy is serious. So I went down to Groan and Brogher Garda station and I reported him. The guards were familiar with his name, no surprise there. He's the only person I ever reported to the guards. So anyway, went back into work, and another hour later, I got a phone call from a lady saying, "Hi, how are you? I'm struggling to make my payments on my car. Can you help me out?" I said, "Absolutely no problem. What's the reg of your car?" Typed her reg into our customer relations manager, and of course, whose name pops up? Her boyfriend, the guy who was after threatening me. It turns out he just wasn't paying his bills. The finance company were ringing him asking for money, and instead of him being a man and taking ownership and responsibility, he decided to ring me up and try and make it my fault. So for that reason, he's number one. Little scumbag.